From Doran Park in Bourne, Massachusetts, this is Braves Baseball. Alongside Jordan Palacio, I'm Sam Wiederhaft as the Braves look to bounce back after a tough opening day loss at Orleans, 2-0 the final 2 nights ago, a rainout last night in Harwich. But Jordan, while there wasn't a ton of noise on offense, the pitching was really the highlight in the opener for Bourne.
Without a question. I mean, when you only give up 2 runs as a pitching staff, you're thinking most nights you're probably going to get the victory. Harrison Rakowski started that game for the Braves, and like I said, you're going to be impressed. You talk about 5 innings pitched, and he only gave up that one mistake. It was a 2-run home run to Jory Zamora up of Orleans, and that was a difference in the game. That was really the only trouble he got himself into. And Wesley Tobin out of the pen pitched a scoreless 3 innings, and Nick Iverson also in relief pitched a scoreless inning himself. So really, the Bourne pitching staff has only made 1 mistake. That 1 mistake just cost them the game.
9 strikeouts through the lineup on the Bourne side. They'll be taking on a Harwich Mariners team that finished 3rd place in the West Division last year with a losing record and did not start off the season well 2 nights ago, especially with the bullpen against Falmouth.
Well, when your bullpen gives up every single run that you have in a game, that's obviously not going to – that's going to be something you're going to want to improve on. Harwich gave up 7 runs. Their starter went out there against Falmouth opening night, pitched 5 scoreless innings, only 1 hit baseball. You give up 4 runs in the 6th and then 3 runs in the 7th, and then it's game over at that point. So for Harwich, that's going to be something that they're going to be wanting to improve on, and perhaps maybe the Braves can exploit later tonight.
Logan Allen for Harwich had a solid start in their first game, pitching 5 innings, only allowing 1 hit and striking out 7, but their bullpen of Menendez and Waldis came in the 6th and 7th and gave up 7 runs apiece, respectively. Let's take a look at the Harwich starting lineup. The starter, Joey Weimer, will be playing center field. Michael Ludwig in right. Bobby Seymour at first base. Michael Cavadas at third base. Chris Lanzilli over in left. Eduardo Malinowski at the DH. Christian Fedko second base. Jackson Greer will be catching. Brian Dempsey, the shortstop, as Joey Weimer, the number 1 batter, steps in to face off against Nick Domkowski, getting his first start for Bourne here tonight.
And Nick Domkowski coming from Hartford, another big lefty, 6'2", 195. In 2019, not that good of a year for him. 2018 was a lot kinder to him. He's America East Rookie and Pitcher of the Year. He was the first person ever to do that in that conference. But last season, like I said, 3-6 and almost a 5 ERA.
The 0-1-2. Joey Weimer's a little low. That'll even up the count. 1 ball and 1 strike. Joey Weimer, the rising junior from Cincinnati, spent last summer with the Fayetteville Swamp Dogs in the Coastal Plains League, so he has some summer ball experience. As that 1-1 is high and outside, 2 balls and a strike. And
as an leadoff hitter, we all know what they're trying to do up at the plate. See as many pitches as you can, get your eyes some looks at the pitcher, and, 2-1, I expect not a swing here.
2-1 from Domkowski is high on the fastball. That'll move it to a 3 ball and 1 strike count. Good hitters count for the leadoff batter, Joey Weimer, for the Mariners. Both teams 0-1 coming into this second matchup of the season. These 2 teams were supposed to play in Harwich last night, that game being rained out about 30 minutes before first pitch. As the 3-1 is in there for a strike, that'll make the count run full, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
And now this is going to be very interesting here from Domkowski, what he's going to come out with. 3-2 count. Definitely don't want to walk the very first batter. See if he comes with some heat or maybe some off speed.
Here's the payoff to Weimer. Weimer got him swinging, ball on the ground. Jake Campbell starting behind the plate for the Braves, throws it over to first. And there's the first strikeout of the evening for Nick Domkowski.
And it was the off speed in the dirt, and Weimer bit on it. Campbell doing a nice job keeping the ball in front of him. Makes the easy throw to first for a nice start for the Bravos.
Michael Ludwig, the right fielder for the Mariners, steps in, the lefty. Domkowski, also a left-handed pitcher. So lefty on lefty matchup. Here's the first pitch. It's high on the fastball and swung at for a strike.
Domkowski really liking the high stuff. We've heard from a couple of guys on the team that sometimes might even sneak in a high changeup with this. This is something you just don't see because of its ability to get hit out of the yard.
1 is outside. Ball and a strike to Ludwig, the rising junior. Ball grounded up in between short and third. It'll get into left field, and Harwich has a hit coming from Michael Ludwig.
Good piece of hit in there, going the other way. Alika Williams making his debut this season for the Braves over at shortstop, not able to get over to it with the lefty shift being put on, and now the Bravos got a double play opportunity here with the runner on first.
And it's back-to-back Wake Forest players as Bobby Seymour playing first tonight comes in batting in that number 3 spot, and he's a guy that's especially dangerous for this Mariners team. At Wake Forest in his sophomore season, 377 average, 9 home runs, 92 RBIs. Just an incredible season over in North Carolina for Bobby Seymour as he comes in for his first at-bat tonight with a runner on first. Another lefty. That first pitch is off speed and gets in there for a strike.
Beautiful pitch there from Domkowski to start him off speed. Definitely not looking to see that right out of the gate. Beautiful pitch.
Seymour was the ACC Baseball Player of the Year this past season. Going to be entering his junior year and will be draft eligible after next year. Pitch is fouled off over on the third base side.
Heads up. Headed into the Braves dugout as well. That'd be interesting to see if that caught somebody on the backside.
0-2 to Bobby Seymour. Michael Ludwig is over at first. A great turnout for the opening night here for the Bourne Braves at Doran Park. Braves missing out on the playoffs last season with an 18-25-1 record. Last place in the West Division. 0-2 to Seymour. Cuts on it, fouls it off.
And Domkowski choosing to work rather quickly there. 0-2 could have gone waste pitch. Maybe that breaking ball in the dirt that he threw 3-2 to Weimer. This time, another breaking ball kind of down the heart of the plate. So 0-2, let's see, I'd expect probably fastball up and away here, trying to get him to chase.
Well, we see what he gets him with 0-2. Seymour's 92 RBIs this past season were the most by any NCAA Division I player since Buster Posey with Florida State with 93 in 2008. You'll recognize that name. Off speed is upstairs for a ball. 1-2.
Something to keep an eye on, too. The fences out here at Doran Park to straightaway right field is only 300 right down the line. But the thing to look out for is the warning track is a little bit extended, so some outfielders thinking they might be touching the wall might get a little caught up in that warning track.
1-2 is cut on and foul back to the backstop. Count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Defensively for the Braves, it's Cody Morissette over at third, Alika Williams at short, Jimmy Glowinski at second, A.J. Curtis at first, Jake Campbell behind the plate catching. In right field, Kyle Hess. Noah Bridges takes over center, and Brendan Rivoli in left for tonight's opening night. Been a little windy here early in the game.
Yeah, when isn't it, right? Over here on the Cape.
1-2's low. That'll even up the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Glowinski coming from Dallas Baptist, making his debut tonight as well. Usually playing shortstop over there in Dallas, so interesting to see him flip over to the other side of the bag. Still middle infield spot, but a little technically different in some of the fielding ground balls and obviously the length of the throw as well.
Domkowski looks over to first, now delivers the 2-2. Seymour cut on again. And that's one thing we really saw from Harrison Ratowski, the opening day starter for the Braves. Had a lot of guys in that Firebirds lineup down 0-2, but couldn't finish them off.
No, and, it's all about the at-bat, and Seymour's doing a great job fouling pitches off. A lot of these pitches he's swinging at are out of the zone, but he's doing a nice job keeping the bat on there, adjusting to the different eyesights that Domkowski has given him. Let's see if Domkowski can get him here at 2-2.
Lefty on lefty, 2-2 delivery is grounded over to third. Cody Morissette, the long throw to second, over to first. They double him up, and that ends the top of the first inning. Cody Morissette turns the double play over from third. It's 1, 2, 3, no runs, and 1 hit for the Harwich Mariners. We head to the bottom half of the first. You're watching the Bourne Braves on YouTube. No damage from the Harwich Mariners in the top half of the first inning. Let's take a look at the lineup for the Bourne Braves here on opening night at Doran Park. Batting first for the Braves, Noah Bridges. He's in center. Cody Morissette in the second spot, playing third base. Just turned that double play in the top of the first. Alika Williams takes over the three-hole in his summer league debut. He's playing shortstop. A.J. Curtis in the cleanup spot, playing first base. Shane Muntz, the DH. We saw him get 2 hits in the game against Orleans. Kyle Hess in the next spot. He's playing right field. Jimmy Glowenke, Brendan Rivoli, and Jake Campbell will round out the lineup for the Bourne Braves. On the bump for the Mariners, Connor Seckler, the young man from Missouri State.
Yeah, with Connor Seckler, usually a reliever. Now, this is a guy that Harwich believes they're going to be losing to Team USA, so this might be his only appearance over here on the Cape. So this might be it. I mean, we might be seeing the debut and the final game out of Seckler. We're looking fastball, slider, change. 2019, more of a reliever-type guy. Only 46 and some change innings pitched, record of 2-6, and an ERA of about 4.5.
Here's the first pitch to Noah Bridges. He watches for a strike.
And we know with Noah Bridges, we heard the Twitter page at Bourne Braves. Tyler Manning interviewed him, said he really
a pinch hitter in the later innings in opening day at Orleans. He was over 1, looking for his first hit on the season. And good morning, good afternoon, good night from Connor Seckler as his first strikeout got Noah Bridges looking.
Wow, I mean, it doesn't get easier than that, huh? 3 fastballs, 3 strikes, and 1 out.
Now batting the third baseman from Boston College, number 7, Cody Morissette.
And
Cody Morissette stepping in.
Yeah, and that would be the big thing for the Braves is to get some offense going. You know, they're kind of in an offensive low, only 2 hits in that first game. It'd be big for them and their confidence to get a base hit started.
Morissette fouls off the first pitch right back to the backstop. Now, Jordan, we know a lot of these players are playing with wood bats for the first time.
Yep.
How much of a factor do you think that's going to play here in these first couple weeks of the season with these offense struggling a little bit?
Well, I'll tell you, it's a big deal, especially because, you know, a lot of these guys you mentioned are swinging for the first time. And, you know, the feeling is different. When you hit the bat, you get a lot more stinging, which might affect the follow through, affect the power.
1-1 is lifted on the third base side, curving into foul territory over at third. Nico Kavadas doesn't have a chance at it. So Cody Morissette now falls behind in the count, a ball and 2 strikes. Well, we told this story in Orleans on opening night, but Cody Morissette, for about 3 days last week, was the only infielder for the Braves, and Harvey Shapiro, the field manager, had him playing about 3 different positions during practice because nobody had arrived yet. As Morissette fouls it off, he'll stay 1-2.
Yeah, Shapiro had him playing second, short, and third in preparation. He didn't know who he was going to have at what time, and it paid off. You know, he started playing second base. He played second base against the Firebirds on Monday. Now he's playing third tonight against the Mariners.
Here's the 1-2 from Seckler. That ball low and outside. We'll even up the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Morissette, the local kid from Boston College. Played 4 years of varsity basketball in high school, scoring over 1,300 points. And Seckler gets his second batter looking. 2 strikeouts early for him.
Nasty curveball there from Seckler. And maybe this is why he might be leaving for Team USA later in the coming weeks, because that was just unhittable right there. Knee buckler, absolutely.
Here's the first at-bat from Alika Williams this season. First pitch he sees is off speed for a strike.
And Alika Williams from Arizona State, his freshman season, it was kind of comparable to a former Brave and Nick Ahmed, more known for his defensive abilities, but as the season has gone on, really, especially at Arizona State last year, really got the bat going.
Williams was a all Pac-12 honorable mention. Fouls off that 1-1 pitch. He falls behind in the count now, a ball and 2 strikes. Well, it's important for the Braves to get some batting power early. You mentioned only 4 hits in the game against Orleans. Here's the 1-2, and Williams sends that ball to center field. Weimer moves to his right, is under it, and puts it away. 3 up, 3 down, no hits, no runs for the Bourne Braves. We head to the second inning. Harwich rolling here. You're watching Bourne Braves on YouTube. 4, 5, and 6 batters due up here in the top half of the second inning. From Doran Park, Harwich, Nico Cavadas will lead it off. Another lefty here in this Harwich lineup. And
third baseman, number 12,
Joran,
Nico Cavadas.
Bourne goes 2 straight lefties starting. You go with Harrison Ratowski, a lefty, and then on the bump, Nick Domkowski, another lefty. Certainly something that's rare here in baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. It's felt like the league of the lefties here throughout the first couple days of the season.
It certainly has been. Cavadas swings at the first pitch high.
Not even some southpaws on the mound, but a lot of them batting as well. Definitely, it feels a lot more than what you would averagely see on the field.
And Cavadas sends that one to left field. Curving foul. He'll fall behind in the count 0-2. And I tell you what, for lefties here at Doran Park, certainly a hitting advantage. And we talk about the dimensions of the field. To left field, it's 330. To right field, it's a very skinny 300.
Yeah, it absolutely is. However, to right center, only about, you'd say maybe 50 or so feet to the left of that 300 pole is 360. So it's very sharp turn, very fast, which I think gives this park some character. Kind of unique in that you don't get a lot of that everywhere else here on the Cape.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Here's the 1-2 from Domkowski. Cavadas thinks about it, pulls back his swing. The count now evens up, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Cavadas, the rising junior from Granger, Indiana, going to Notre Dame up in South Bend. 2-2. Cavadas jammed him a little bit. High fly over to third base. Morissette moving over. He'll put it away.
And it's been an efficient start for Domkowski. A pop-up in foul territory is something you'll take every single day, every single at-bat if you have the choice. That's a great at-bat, and it's a great pitching at-bat there for Domkowski.
Now the left fielder, Chris Lanzilli, will step in to have his first at-bat against Domkowski. Righty against lefty matchup. Lanzilli, another player from Wake Forest. So a lot of Deacon representation here in the Cape Cod Baseball League. First pitch is a ball. 2-0 count.
And for Lanzilli, spent some time in the Perfect Game League last season. Definitely taking a step up this year, coming up to the premier Summer Collegiate Baseball League here in the Cape.
Domkowski kicks and deals. Fouled off over on the first base side. Lanzilli in 55 games in 2019 batted .350. In 2018, only batted .268. 16 home runs this season for the rising junior from Wake Forest. Grounds it over to short. Alika Williams there for his first defensive stop of the day. Throw over to first is in time. And 2 up, 2 down for this Bourne Braves defense.
And that's the closest thing to a sure thing that I think we're going to have all game. Anything to Alika Williams within range, he is going to keep in his mid. He's going to be able to lock down. Like I said, kind of comparable to a Nick Ahmed, shortstop for the Diamondbacks, where, you know, they just kind of like to play defense. It's weird. Normally a lot of guys, you know, taking infielders, whatever. But for Alika and for guys like him and Ahmed, it's an art almost to those kind of guys.
Eduardo Malinowski, the DH, comes in for the Harwich Mariners. First pitch he sees is inside, almost scraping the letters for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. Malinowski, rising junior from Penn, an Ivy League player here in this Cape Cod League. Little slow roller over to Domkowski at the pitcher position. Throw to first, and Harwich still with just 1 hit. No hits in this inning. No runs. 0-0. We head to the bottom of the second inning. You're watching Braves baseball on YouTube.
First baseman from Cal State Fullerton, number 19.
Bottom of the
AJ
second
Curtis.
inning for the Bourne Braves. Score still at 0-0. One hit for Harwich, 0 for Bourne so far. AJ Curtis from Cal State Fullerton will step in and watches strike one from Connor Seckler. Curtis played in the first game for Bourne. Next pitch is a ball. Evens it up 1 ball and 1 strike. Went 0 for 4. Didn't strike out, though, which a lot of Bourne players did. 9 strikeouts through that lineup thrown by Orleans. A tough offensive day on opening day. 1-1. Curtis ground ball over to third. Cavadas has it. Long throw to first. Stretches the first baseman Seymour a little bit, but is in time, and Curtis is retired for the first out.
And that's not as easy as it looks right there. Cavadas has to be quick getting the ball in and out of the glove there. Any type of fumble or juggle is going to be allowing Curtis to get on first base. And a nice shot by Seymour there. A tip of the toes on the bag. Nice stretch for the first out.
Shane Muntz steps in. Another player from Wake Forest, this time on the Bourne side. First pitch from Seckler. Muntz watches for a strike. Shane Muntz was the highlight of the Braves lineup in the first game. Went 2 for 3 with a double and a single. So he's the leading Brave hitter right now. As the second pitch is high and tight for a ball. Evens it up, a ball and a strike.
Yeah, he definitely looked the most comfortable out of everyone there on Monday night.
Seckler's 1-1 is fired in there for a strike. 1-2. Muntz DHing today. We know how many positions he can play, at least how many he's listed on for the roster. Pitcher, first baseman, DH, outfielder, outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Also a catcher as well. He's 6'4", 225, so some great size, and he works the count now to 3-2.
And I don't know what it is about Shane Muntz. He just looks very calm and collected up there at the plate. I don't know what it is.
The payoff is curved right in there for a strike. Another great pitch from Connor Seckler. There's his 3rd strikeout of the evening, and all 3 have been looking.
I'll tell you, 3 strikeouts out of 5 possible outs for Seckler so far. Does not get any better than that. He has been absolutely nasty up there at the hill so far tonight.
So Kyle Hess now steps in. The outfielder from Pitt, playing in right today. Another lefty-on-lefty matchup, and he watches ball 1 fall outside and in the dirt.
Christian Kyle Hess.
Hess at Pitt had a .254 average, 2 homers on the year. That's a strike. Evens it up 1-1. 2 homers, 6 doubles, 33 RBIs. Went 1 for 3 at Orleans and watches strike 2.
Seckler right now on the hill, just looking like a machine. He is in a zone early right here. He's very much just throw the pitch, get the ball back, and repeat.
1-2 from Seckler is inside at the toes. And that'll even it up to Hess. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Two is high and curves right into the zone for another strikeout looking. Mark that the 4th one for Connor Seckler, and all 4 have been looked at. 3 up, 3 down, no runs, no hits for the Bourne Braves. We head to the top half of the 3rd. You're watching Braves Baseball on YouTube. 0-0 score here from Doran Park, the opening night for the Braves. Alongside Joran Palacio, Sam Wiederhaft with you as the top of the third is about to begin. And Joran, so far, through 2 innings this night, looking a lot like opening night for the Braves.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, it's almost a carbon copy. You have Domkowski doing his thing on the mound for the Braves, but offensively, we've had 4 strikeouts and 6 possible outs. I mean, it's been an exact carbon copy of that game on Monday night.
Christian Fedko from UConn will step in against Nick Domkowski. First pitch is outside for a ball. Fedko's brother, Kyler Fedko, on the roster for the Bourne Braves. So these 2 players, for the first time ever for them, competing off against each other. Kyler not in the lineup for today, but still remarked that it's going to be cool to play against his brother for the first time ever. 2-0 is the count against Fedko. Have to imagine that's a pretty competitive spirit amongst those brothers, both playing the same college at UConn, but a unique experience tonight to play against each other.
Yeah, it's a shame because I bet Kyler would love to be playing. Has a little bit of a nagging back injury keeping him out of the lineup tonight. We'll see when's the next time he'll be able to suit up. Just kind of want to take it precautionary step-by-step here for Kyler Fedko.
3-0 is the count in 62 games for Christian Fedko at UConn, batted .271 for that UConn team that went 39-25, a 12-12 conference record. And there's a walk in 4 pitches. First walk of the night for Nick Domkowski, and that sends Christian Fedko over to first.
Number 34, Jackson Greer.
A little lapse in the concentration there from Domkowski. It is not often you're going to see him walk somebody, and especially on 4 pitches. Not the way you want to start an inning at all. However, if you're the Braves, if you're Domkowski, you're just only a ground ball away from erasing it all.
Braves are already turned to double play in the first inning of this game. Jackson Greer, the catcher, now coming in and sends one over to left field in the shallow outfield for a single. The first 2 hitters for the Mariners here in this top of the third have both gotten on, and they're threatening here with no outs in the top of the third.
Yeah, Greer was absolutely sitting on a first pitch fastball. Nice piece of hitting there. He knew that after the Fedko at bat that Domkowski was going to be looking to steal a strike early in the count, and sits on fastball, drives into left field. Everybody moves up 90 feet.
Brian Dempsey, the number 9 batter, now coming in, the shortstop with runners on first and second. It's Fedko at second, Jackson Greer at first. Greer was all over that first pitch from Domkowski, getting the second hit of the ball game for the Mariners as Domkowski turns towards second to check up on Fedko. Brian Dempsey, one of the returning players for the Mariners, spent a little bit of time with Harwich last season and the DC Grays in the Cal Ripken League last summer. So he already knows what it's like to play in this prestigious Cape Cod League. First pitch to him is a hard swing and it's for a strike.
One of the temporary players on the Mariner roster, a couple of them got cut earlier today. It just shows you the nature of that temp player contract. Koperniak and Ben Brooks from Harwich both released today. As soon as you play an inning for one of these teams, you could be let go at any moment.
0-1. Dempsey watches it for a ball. A lot of uncertainty between these teams in the first couple of weeks. Nobody really knows who's going to stay and who's going to leave.
And we were talking to Braves GM Darren Weeks, and he kind of said, the roster, especially the first week or two, is kind of irrelevant because it doesn't matter. As soon as you get into the end of June, early July, that's when the real guys are showing up and really stepping up.
1-1 to Dempsey. And just gets a little piece on the check swing. It was a ground ball over to Seymour. Or check that, Curtis. Curtis will go over and tap first base, but the runners move up 90 feet. 2 runners in scoring position now for Harwich.
Hey, almost an excuse me swing type of play right there. Ended up working out like a sacrifice bunt. Moves the runners up 90 feet, gets rid of the double play possibility, and now Domkowski's got himself in a little bit of a jam here.
Second and third with 1 out, Joey Weimer, the leadoff. Now back up to the plate. He's 0 for 1. Strikeout in the first, and Weimer watches strike 1.
And a strikeout here would be a big out here for Domkowski. You preferably want something on the ground here. Fly ball most likely is going to be scoring a runner over from third. That's Fedko. If you're Domkowski, going to be trying to keep the ball low.
0-1 is a slow ground ball over to Morissette at third. He turns to first. A run will score. And getting safely to first is Weimer. It's an RBI infield single, and Harwich is on the board first.
Almost an impossible play there for Cody Morissette. Kind of like a swinging bunt there from Weimer. Morissette charging in, having to make a type of Ryan Zimmerman play, throwing on the run, had no shots, and the run scores on the infield single.
And Weimer has a lot of speed like we just saw, beating out for that infield single. He had 21 stolen bases this past year for Cincinnati. Stole 4 bases in one game against Eastern Kentucky on April 24th. And we just saw that speed over at first. So it's first and second. Michael Ludwig now the batter. Still 1 out in the inning. Harwich up 1-0, and Ludwig will foul off that first pitch. He's 1 for 1 with the first hit for the Mariners back in the first.
And again, it's frustrating, especially with that at-bat to Weimer, because you did your job as a pitcher. You got the ground ball. You just hit it in an impossible spot. So if you're Domkowski, you kind of have to keep a short memory. Don't really hold yourself on too short of a leash. Go out, try and get an at-bat, get an out here on a ground out preferably.
0-1 on the fastball is outside. Evens up the count, a ball and a strike. It's Jackson Greer over at second, Joey Weimer at first. Harwich, which had a 1-0 lead in their first game against Falmouth, is up early again here in this one. They lost their opening night game 7-2. The 1-1 is fouled off on the third base side, and Ludwig finds himself behind in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Foul ball might be staying up there. Landed on the roof of the Upper Cape Regional Technical High School here. It landed on the roof. I'm not sure. Maybe whoever goes up there to clean it might find themselves a little souvenir to take home that night.
Interesting job they have.
Yeah.
I bet that's not the first baseball they'll find.
Oh, absolutely not. Probably won't be the only one tonight.
1-2 to Ludwig. Slow rolling ground ball. Curtis will take over at first, has no play, and Ludwig beats it out over at first. There's another infield single for the Mariners. A little bit of small ball being played here, and the bases are loaded.
And for Domkowski, another bit of frustration. Kind of got caught being a little bit of a spectator on that play. Ball hit in between Glowinky over there on the right side, over to his left side. A.J. Curtis did a nice job ranging over to get it. And by the time that Domkowski was able to realize, I got to go cover first base, it was too late. Everybody moves up. However, still the double play ball is on. And that's the silver lining here for the Braves. If you get a ground ball, you can get out of this inning relatively unscathed.
Well, Bobby Seymour, the number 3 batter, now steps up. He grounded into a double play in his first at-bat, but of course we know the damage he can do, especially with Wake Forest this past season, batted over .370, 9 homers, 92 RBIs, and the first pitch is a ball. And Seymour is the number 1 batter the Mariners want to have up in this situation. They have a chance to lengthen this lead here early in this one.
And if you're the Braves, it's all about stopping the bleeding, getting out of the inning before it gets too bad. 1 run probably won't beat you.
1-0 ground ball. Curtis will be there. A stretch, throws it over to second. They can't get Seymour at first, and a run comes in. It's 2-0 Mariners, but the Braves get another out. There's 2 down.
Yeah, fielder's choice there. A little unfortunate. Ball not hit hard enough for the speed to turn 2. Curtis made the right decision going to second, getting it out there. But yeah, the infield grass kind of stopping the ball a little bit. And by the time Curtis had thrown to second, there was no chance of getting it out at first.
Jake Campbell, the catcher, steps up from behind the plate, gives some motions to the infield. And Nico Cavadas, who's 0 for 1 with a fly out to third in his first at-bat, now comes in with an RBI chance. Runners at the corners, 2 outs here in the top of the third. 2-0, Harwich leads. Here's the pitch from Domkowski. Fastball is outside and low for a ball. This is game number 2 in a 44 Cape Cod Baseball League season. Last night at Harwich was rained out as the 1-0 is low and outside, 2 balls and no strikes. That game looking to be made up tomorrow at Harwich at 6 o'clock. More rain in the forecast for tomorrow, so we'll see whenever we get that game played. I tell you, by the end of this 3-game stretch, we're going to get to know Harwich pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen their guys 2 days in a row. Supposed to see him for a third tomorrow, but Who knows with that rain in the forecast?
2-0 to Kavadas, and Domkowski finally gets a swinging strike. The count now moves to 2 balls and 1 strike. Domkowski stares down Campbell, the catcher, checks over at first. Now the 2-1. Cavada sends that one to left field. Moving back is Rivoli. Should have it in his sights and puts it away. But the Harwich Mariners get on the board. It's 2-0 as we head to the bottom of the 3rd inning. You're watching the Bourne Braves on YouTube.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming.
Connor Seckler back on the hill to begin his 3rd inning of work. And Joran, through this Bourne Braves lineup, he's seen 6 batters and struck out 4 of them looking. Not really a lot you can do.
Not a lot you can do, especially when you're not swinging the bat. But he's been very nasty. Do not get that wrong. Here, coming up for the Braves, Jimmy Glowinski. Very interesting to see in his first Cape League at bat. Really want to see him do well and played very well for Dallas Baptist. 330 average. Hoping he can get the Braves offense jump started.
And Glowinski sends it to center field. Weimer is right there. A straight line out to center. A hard hit ball. But Weimer puts him away for 1 pitch, 1 out.
It's 1 pitch, 1 out, but I tell you what, that's a sign of confidence for this Braves lineup because that ball was hit hard, and that is the first hard hit ball we've seen out of the Bourne Braves since Shane Muntz's double, probably in Orleans back on Monday. Definitely things looking up. Rather have that than a strikeout looking.
And Brendan Rivoli now comes in and watches ball 1 in the dirt. Rivoli from Virginia, played catcher there, is playing left tonight. A 1-0 is outside, 2 balls and no strikes. A good hitters count for Brendan Rivoli. Actually played 2 years of ice hockey in high school, and the count now moves to 3-0.
This is rare out of Seckler. I would not expect a swing here out of Rivoli.
And he'll watch strike 1. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Okay, now, and this is where you want to be careful because you don't want to just let a strike get away for free here on 3-1.
And Rivoli swings it. Was probably ball 4. Was going to be ball 4. Was in the dirt. And the count runs full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, don't misunderstand it. That ball had some movement on it. Now you got to watch that big breaker that Seckler likes to throw here.
Payoff. And Rivoli sends that one high to right center field. Ludwig and Weimer both moving over. It'll be Weimer making the play. And 2 up, 2 down. Weimer making both outs in center field. A couple of pretty well-hit baseballs, just hitting them right where the Harwich Mariners defense is.
Yeah, and that's baseball, isn't it? You know, it's a failed sport, and you know a lot of people who fail 7 out of 10 times, meaning they only succeed 3 out of those 10 times, are thought to be very good. You bat a 300 average like that, but not going to get the job done tonight.
Jake Campbell goes the opposite way. Ludwig is right there. 3 batters for the Braves, and all 3 of them fly out to the outfield. It's a 1-2-3 inning. No hits, no runs. Harwich still on top, 2-0. We head to the top of the 4th. You're watching the Bourne Braves on YouTube. A 7-pitch inning for Connor Seckler and his Harwich Mariners as they enter the top of the 4th inning, up 2-0. And for Nick Domkowski on the mound for the Bourne Braves, when you have such a quick half inning like that, not a ton of rest at all.
No, not a ton of rest. It's kind of like a defense in football when their offense goes 3 and out. Kind of you sit down, you have a drink of water, and then you look up and time to go back to work again. It's kind of the same thing for Domkowski. Hopefully he was able to reset himself, relieve himself of that stress the last inning, get 3 outs here.
Chris Lanzilli will foul off the first pitch. He's 0 for 1. Grounded out to short back in the 2nd inning. And especially after Domkowski got a little rattled in the 3rd inning. Gave up the 2 runs scored by Harwich in this ball game. 1 ball and 1 strike as that ball was outside.
Yeah, definitely the best thing here. Don't give up any walks, no walks. Make them earn their spots. I know, 2 out of those 3 hits in the last inning were kind of just choppers on the infield. Try and get yourself out of it here.
Off speed is high and tight to Lanzilli. And it'll move up to a 2-ball, 1 strike count. There's an RBI single for Joey Weimer, the leadoff batter. And an RBI on the fielder's choice from Bobby Seymour. Tough swing and a miss on the fastball from Domkowski. Evens up the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, big swing and a miss there from Lanzilli, too. He was definitely sitting on fastball, too. Just missed it on that one. Now 2-2. This would be a chance for Domkowski to go get himself an out.
Domkowski kicks and deals inside. And the count now runs full, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Tell you what, that's a good pitch right there from Domkowski. Just missed a little bit on the inner half of the plate. Lanzilli did a nice job of selling it. He was kind of walking back out of the box right when that pitch crossed the plate here. 3-2, though, can't run from this one.
Payoff. That ball is high, and there's a walk from Domkowski. That's the 2nd walk he's issued here today to this Harwich Mariners lineup. And that'll bring up Malinowski.
Designated hitter from Pennsylvania, number 5, Edward Eduardo Malinowski.
And it looks like we got some action going on in the Braves pen right now. If my eyes are not deceiving me, that looks to be Josh Culliver from Minnesota getting warm. He'd be making his first appearance here on the Cape if he were to come into this one.
Malinowski's 0 for 1 with a ground out back to Domkowski in his first at-bat in the 2nd. He watches ball 1 high and outside. Lanzilli at first and heads back to the bag as Domkowski goes over to check on him.
Not a bad little move there. Not the typical kick the leg up, throw over there. Just step off the rubber in the stretch, quick throw over there. Could have caught Lanzilli sleeping a little bit.
1-0 is cut on and missed from Malinowski. Count evens up, a ball and a strike. Lanzilli over at first in 2019 was drafted by the San Francisco Giants in the 39th round. A number 5 prospect from Massachusetts. 1-1 is cut on hard and missed by Malinowski again. He falls behind in the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, and this is big here because, we talked about it. Rakowski on Monday night. Domkowski so far here tonight has gotten himself into some good pitcher's couch. Not been able to capitalize on him here. On the last at bat, walked a man 3-2. Can't do the same here.
1-2 off goes Lanzilli, and Malinowski fouls it off.
And I think Bourne are kind of lucky that he did foul that pitch off because Lanzilli would have gotten to second base on time, I think, had that pitch gone past Malinowski. He had a perfect jump, and that's a hard thing to do, especially against a left-hander, is get that good of a jump, timed it perfectly.
Lanzilli in the regular season for Wake Forest had only 3 stolen bases, getting a little bit more aggressive here in the Summer League over at first. We'll see if he goes here again. 1-2 to Malinowski. Lanzilli stays put, and Malinowski fouls it off right back to the backstop again.
And we have 2 foul balls in a row, and like we said, Domkowski, let the batters live a little here. 1-2, you might go waste pitch on this pitch just to give Malinowski a little bit something different to look at, kind of just change his perception of what you're going to throw a little bit.
Here's the 1-2 again, and he turns over to first and checks on Lanzilli. For Malinowski, was the Ivy League All-Conference and Rookie of the Year coming from Penn. His 2019 season was solid, a .354 average, 4 home runs, 17 extra base hits. Here's the 1-2 yet again to him, and he fouls it off. Stays in the at-bat. 1-2, it remains.
Yeah, coming up on the 7th pitch of this at-bat here. A lot of fastballs. You would think maybe go off speed, but you never know. With Lanzilli over there on first base, who got such a great jump off that stolen base attempt, has somewhat of a lead over there. You never know.
Domkowski stares down Campbell, a left-handed pitcher, right-handed batter matchup. 1-2, off goes Lanzilli again, and Malinowski fouls it off again. A great at-bat that Malinowski is battling here against Domkowski. Lanzilli was going on that pitch. He heads back over to first. Infield playing in their normal spots. Lanzilli gets a lead off of first base. Domkowski slow in his windup. 1-2, Lanzilli stays put, and Malinowski will foul off another pitch.
That's the 5th consecutive foul ball here of this at-bat. Talk about a battle. This is one of those you go mano a mano. You know, for whoever ends up on the other side of this battle, it's going to be a big confidence boost for Domkowski. This might be crucial here to how he performs here in the rest of the game. A lot of pitches on this at-bat coming up, I believe, on number 10 right now.
1-2. And got him swinging finally. A great battle between Domkowski and Eduardo Malinowski. And Domkowski ends up on top. There's the first out of the inning.
Christian Fetko.
Yeah, and in the box score, that would almost go unnoticed. Just a 1-2 strikeout for the first out here in this top of the 4th. But a great battle, and like I said, should be a huge confidence boost for Domkowski.
That's what I was going to say. Battles that at-bat and ends up on top. He needs after allowing 2 runs in the previous inning. Lanzilli goes off again. Jake Campbell fumbles the strike call, and Lanzilli has a stolen base.
Yeah, he was threatening to go. Domkowski kind of getting in a little bit of a zone there, forgetting to take a peek over there, and because Campbell couldn't hang on to the pitch, even if he would have, I think Lanzilli probably would have got in there safely. A little too slow there on the pop-up, and now the double play ball is gone.
Well, Lanzilli had been threatening in the last at-bat, a lot of hit-and-run situations. He finally gets over to second on his stolen base. Domkowski checks back second, and time called. Called by Jake Campbell, the catcher.
And that's a little bit unusual. Normally you'd see a batter take a timeout there, call timeout when he's waiting a little bit too long in the box. He feels himself getting a little bit stiff, but that time Campbell, maybe sensing something was off, calls time, allowing Domkowski reset himself. Now let's go get this 0-1 count.
Christian Fedko in the box. Here's the 0-1 from Domkowski. Inside, bounces off of Campbell's foot, and getting over to third is Lanzilli. Now turning the corner and coming home. The throw home is in time, and they got him on the tag. Well, Campbell didn't really know where it was. It bounced off of his foot and went over toward the Bourne Braves dugout. And Lanzilli decided to turn the corner at third and head home. And right there was Nick Domkowski, put the tag on him, and there's 2 outs.
Not often you see a 2-1 in the scorebook. Not often you see a pass ball ending up going as an out. What a play there from Campbell. It took a long time to locate the ball, kind of perched up on the side of the third base dugout. Was able to get it in time, throw onto Domkowski for the out.
It's a 1-1 pitch to Fedko, and he fouls it off. Now mark that 1 ball and 2 strikes. Harwich really trying for that third run. They know they have problems in the bullpen, or at least what we saw on opening night, allowing 7 runs in the 6th and 7th innings. Looking for all the insurance they can get, and that time Lanzilli is thrown out. Now the 1-2 from Domkowski. Fedko, fly ball, first base side, curbing in foul territory. And he'll remain in the at-bat, a ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, that might be a big momentum shift in this ball game. The fact that Harwich getting a little bit too aggressive there, maybe getting the out at home might kind of get some inspiration, get some fire going, get some juices going on the side of the Bourne Braves.
1-2 to Fedco from UConn, and it's in the dirt. Campbell stops it. And the count will move up to 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Harwich Mariners, actually a team that had Kyler Murray just a few years ago play a little bit of the Cape Cod Baseball League season for them, a Heisman Trophy winner and the #1 pick in the NFL draft. Here's the 2-2 from Domkowski. Fedco will fly it over on the first base side. Moving over on his right side is Curtis. He'll shade the sun and put it away. So Harwich almost scores here in the top of the 4th, but nothing. It's still a 2-0 lead for the Mariners as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. You're watching the Bourne Braves on YouTube.
Visit them at pawsox.com.
1, 2, 3 batters due up for the Bourne Braves. Back to the top of the lineup here at Doran Park. And for the Mariners, Connor Seckler rolling through this Braves lineup. Joran, do you think we'll see anything different here with the second time around for these Braves batters?
Well, we start off with Noah Bridges, and we know Noah Bridges likes to go after that first pitch. And Seckler, known so far, at least throughout the first 9 batters, known for trying to steal that pitch, to steal that first strike. So I think Bridges here might take advantage of that. Let's see. I'd be willing to bet if it's anywhere near the zone that Bridges is going to go hacking.
So Bridges, the leadoff batter, will step in for his second time, struck out looking in the first inning. And Bridges watches that first pitch strike, something we don't typically see him do.
Yeah, that's surprising. That's surprising, especially from Bridges. A hittable pitch on that first one. Fastball. Let's see if he can adjust here 0-1.
Second ball is a ball. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count to Bridges. And I tell you what, he and his family are probably the biggest fans of North Carolina Wilmington as he grounds the ball over to second base. Fielding it cleanly is Christian Fedco. And throw to first is close, but Bridges can't beat it out. There's the first out.
Well, I'll tell you what, if there was the technology in the league, I guarantee you Harvey Shapiro would probably be challenging that one. From my eye up here, it looked like Bridges beat that out. Too close as hell. Bang, bang. Normally tie goes to the runner unless you're an umpire and you don't really see ties. You see out or safe. And out was the call on that one.
Bridges with 17 stolen bases in the regular season playing for North Carolina Wilmington. As Cody Morissette steps in, watches strike one. He also struck out looking back in the first. His second at-bat. And a tough swinging strike on the breaking ball that was in the dirt from Seckler. It's now 0-2.
And 0-2 is definitely not where you want to be against a guy like Seckler. He will make you pay for falling behind.
Pitch to Morissette is a high fastball upstairs for a ball.
Yeah, typical pitch right there. 0-2, try to chase the high heat. Now this is where it gets interesting. Probably off speed here, I would guess, from Seckler.
He goes fastball and misses the zone. It evens up 2 balls and 2 strikes.
This is the situation Morissette found himself in the first inning. 2-2, struck out looking here. Let's see what happens this time.
Morissette ground ball over to second. And fumbling it over at second is Fedco. And there might be scored an error, but Braves have a base runner here in the 4th inning.
And there goes the perfect game. If I'm scoring it, I'd probably call that an error on Fedco over there. That's how I would score, and that is the official score. And it's going to be an error on Fedco over at second base, but our base runner, nonetheless, a rarity among the Braves so far this season.
So Morissette will be the first base runner for Bourne here in the game today. He's over at first. Alika Williams, who flew out to center, is up for his second at-bat and watches strike one curve right into the zone from Seckler.
And he's used to being kind of an offensive firepower, an offensive source of firepower. Batted cleanup for a very offensive Arizona State team this past season. All Pac-12 honorable mention, as we talked about earlier. And he is a guy who is very good when he falls behind in the count. We're talking about a guy who batted .405 when he fell behind 0-2 or 1-2.
Check up over at Morissette at first. Now the throw to the plate is in there for a strike, and Williams is down 0-2. Connor Seckler in the Missouri Valley was voted all-conference first team after his 2019 season. A 2-6 record with 6 saves and a 4.44 ERA. A little bit of a setback, and heading over to second is Morissette, and the throw is in time, and there was not a doubt about it from Jackson Greer behind the plate. There's the second out of the inning.
Yeah, a little bit of confusion there. Morissette gunned from the start. You would think that somebody missed a sign, as Morissette has a little talking to with Harvey Shapiro down the third base line. Maybe it looks to be a miscommunication about the signs. Cost the Braves an out.
1-2, and Williams sends that one to center field. Weimer has to move up on it, but it's taken back by Chris Lanzilli, who calls him off. And there's the third out. No runs, no hits, one error for the Mariners defense. It's still 2-0. Harwich leads this one. We head to the top of the fifth inning. You're watching the Bourne Braves baseball on YouTube.
Robert Biauer, Staples.
Entering the fifth inning here, the Bourne Braves down 2-0 to the Harwich Mariners. And Jordan, the Braves have already turned to their bullpen.
Yeah, they're going to go to Joshua Culliver. We mentioned he was throwing in the pen, and here he comes on the mound. First Cape League appearance, playing out of Minnesota, played in the Northwoods League last season for only a little bit, got the chance to compete in the Major League Dreams Showcase, pitched a little bit there as well. His stats coming out of the Gophers last season, 3-4 record, 4.64 ERA, and 17 appearances, 64 innings pitched, 28 walks, 51 strikeouts, and opposing batting average of .285.
So Nick Domkowski goes 4 innings pitched, allowing 4 hits, 2 runs, striking out 2, and walking 2.
Jackson Greer.
And this is basically what we saw against Orleans. We saw Harrison Ratowski only go 4 innings, and now Domkowski only goes 4. So the first batter that Joshua Culliver will see is Jackson Greer, and he watches the first off-speed pitch in the zone for a strike. Greer had a single in his last at-bat, so he's 1 for 1, and came around to score for the first run for the Mariners tonight. 0-1 from Culliver. Greer watches that fastball outside.
And that's where you want to miss with that fastball. Don't want to miss high. You'd rather miss outside and low, preferably with that type of pitch. If you miss high, you never know, especially if you're setting up low and you miss high, you might enter the sweet zone.
Inside, almost scrapes the knees. He did not. Yes, he did go around on the appeal over to first. So Greer's now down 1-2.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Jackson Greer gave the first base umpire over there. Give him a little bit of a look, kind of like an "Are you kidding me?" type of look. But, you know, if you're the Braves, you'll take it here. 1-2 the count.
Culliver got him swinging the first batter. He sees he strikes out. A great off-speed pitch on 1-2, and there's the first out of the inning.
Yeah, it absolutely had Jackson Greer fooled on that one. Greer almost bowling out, trying to adjust to that one. If you're a pitcher, that's a big confidence boost, especially in your first at-bat here in the league.
Brian Dempsey now comes in for the Mariners. Dempsey's 0 for 1 with a ground out to first in his at-bat. He went 0 for 3 in his first game against Falmouth. First pitch is a ball from Culliver. 1-0 is grounded right over to third. Right there is Morissette, the long throw to first. And there's the second out of the inning. So far, a great inning for the Bourne Braves defense. Moving through the back end of this Harwich lineup, and now it's back to the top with Joey Weimer.
And it's all about finishing. You know, we've been talking about it with Rakowski and Dumkowski. It's all about finishing. If you get to a 1-2 count, it's all about finishing. And now if you're Culliver, you got 2 outs in the inning, 2 easy outs, finish. Get out of the inning. Go play offense.
Weimer with that high stance dangles the bat up in the air with outstretched arms and watches ball 1. Morissette making that put out over at third. We saw him get caught stealing by a mile back in the last half inning. It has to be a sign to just miscommunication. These players not really knowing the coaches yet. And Joran, you took off the headset right after that half inning and said that was a complete missed call.
You would imagine, because of how big he was thrown out by, and because of the conversation he had with Harvey Shapiro over on the third baseline, you would think that somebody missed a sign. It could have been a hit and run that was missed, or Morissette could have just missed something. But what are you going to expect? You know, you're playing for a coach that you met maybe a week ago.
2-1, and a hard swinging strike. His helmet comes off. And that evens up the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Weimer really going for it. He has an RBI single in the game today. He's 1 for 2, but wow, really trying to prove himself here in the Cape League. The helmet comes off on the swing.
And I'll tell you what, Culliver here making some guys look silly. At a Bowen out on the strikeout. Weimer swinging himself out of his helmet here. Interesting to see on the 2-2.
That pitch high and tight on the off-speed from Culliver. The count runs full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. It's a 2-0 lead for Harwich. They scored 2 in the top of the third. We're in the top of the 5th now. Top of the lineup with Joey Weimer. Here's the payoff from Culliver. Swinging over to Morissette over at third. Fields it cleanly. Throw to first and A.J. Curtis. And there's the third out of the inning. No runs, no hits for the Harwich Mariners. They still lead 2-0. We head to the bottom of the 5th inning. You're watching Bourne Braves on YouTube. Bottom half of the 5th inning from Doran Park. The Bourne Braves not enjoying this home opener as much as they'd like. Down 2-0 and still without a hit. Connor Seckler continues to roll through this lineup. A.J. Curtis leads it off for the Braves. First pitch from Seckler is outside for a ball.
And A.J. Curtis himself looking for his first hit here on the Cape, as a lot of Braves are 0 for 5 so far this season.
1-0 Curtis, a hard swinging strike, evens up the count, a ball and a strike. Back on Monday, the opening night at Orleans, A.J. Curtis was playing at first, as he is tonight. Rob Emery, the first baseman for Orleans, that pitch fouled off, 1-2, came over to A.J. Curtis and said, hey, I didn't expect to be playing first base tonight. Can I borrow a first baseman's glove? So A.J. Curtis let the first baseman for Orleans, Emery, use his first baseman glove the whole night. 1-2 is outside. A.J. Curtis now with a 2-ball, 2-strike count. He said Emery came up and said, my coach at San Francisco told me there's no way I'm going to be playing first in the Cape Cod Baseball League, as Curtis swings on that 2-2 pitch for a strikeout.
You love that, though, right? I mean, only something like that would happen here on the Cape. I mean, you never really know what kind of situation you're going to run into.
Especially with a lot of players that aren't here yet from the College World
Right.
Series. Some players asked to play some positions they're not really used to playing. And that was certainly a situation with that happening. Curtis strikes out. That's only the 5th batter that Seckler has struck out, and I say only because the way he's working right now, you'd think it'd be a lot more, as Muntz watches strike 1. Actually, the first strikeout since the 2nd inning for Seckler. There's a strike in the zone yet again, 0-2. Muntz struck out looking in the 2nd. So he's 0 for 1.
And we mentioned Shane Muntz has been the only offensive bright spot, but not even he has been able to conquer Seckler so far.
0-2, fouls it off toward the backstop. Muntz with a ground rule double in the first game against Orleans, right down the right field line, and bounced onto that famous hill at Eldridge Park, and then was able to get a single in his next at-bat. He was the only Braves hitter with a hit until about the 7th or 8th inning. Here's the 0-2. Muntz sends that one over to left field off the glove of the third baseman Cavadas, and there's the first hit for the Bourne Braves tonight.
Only barely, huh? Game of inches. It's turned out to be Cavadas. Almost got to it. Hit off the very tip of his glove and trickled into left field. And the bullpen over in left field for the Braves loving it. Shane Muntz kind of giving them a little bit of a shout out because, like we've mentioned, he is, after all, listed as a pitcher on the roster.
And the guy who's listed as a pitcher ends up being the best hitter through 1.5 games. Muntz gets his 3rd hit on the season, as Kyle Hess will foul that ball off. Hess is also 0 for 1 with a strikeout looking in the 2nd.
And, you know, they call the double play an inning killer for a reason. That's what you really want to avoid if you're the Braves, because, you know, they had a couple of situations at Orleans where they'd get a runner on early in the inning and hit it right into a double play, and that would end that. And especially with one out here in the 5th, you want to start making some moves. You know, you only have so many innings, so many opportunities to get back into this game. You know, you finally got your first hit. Now you got to string them together. And it looks like we have a conversation going on here between the Harwich manager and the home plate umpire.
I'm not sure what this is about. I saw a piece of paper in the hand.
Well, I believe it is because that is Rivoli who is batting. That is number 20, Brandon Rivoli, and Kyle Hess is number 21.
Well, in that case, they would have skipped not only Kyle Hess, but also Jimmy Glowenke. So this is interesting. Nothing's going to come of it, it looks like. The Harwich manager, Steve Englert, was talking with the home plate umpire. And it looks like they could be batting out of order, but nothing's happening. I'm very confused.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. Usually, in a batting out of order situation, you wait till after the at bat to bring it up. So we'll have to see what happens after the at bat.
Well, it's Rivoli sending one to center field. Weimer is right there just before the warning track and puts him away. Well, that being the 2nd out of the inning, and now coming in is going to be Jimmy Glowenke, who's supposed to be in this spot. Glowenke going to the plate with 2 outs, and Hess is in the on-deck circle. Well, I guess it didn't really matter because Rivoli just flied out for an out, but looks like he would have been out regardless. Batting out of order. And Glowenke will watch the first pitch outside and low for a ball. Well, just first week jitters here in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and this offense, not only can they not get a hit off Connor Seckler, they can't even figure their own things out, batting out of order.
So it appears that we have a man on the inside. Tyler Mannion is reporting to us that what happened was it is supposed to be Rivoli in the 6th spot and Hess in the 8th spot. However, the first time around, they messed up the order.
Well, Glowenke sends one to right center field. Ludwig moving back on it. Dives, can't get it. That ball gets to the wall. Shane Muntz being waved around. Glowenke will stop over at second. Muntz comes across the plate, and the Bourne Braves get their first run of the 2019 summer.
Beautiful piece of hitting, and I told you we were looking forward to seeing Jimmy Glowenke hit the ball, hit that perfectly into the right center gap, and gets the run home from first all the way. That's Shane Muntz, the pitcher, chugging around the bases, and finally the Braves have something to be excited about.
Well, we're happy that Jimmy Glowenke batted in order, and now it's going to be Kyle Hess. So Hess now batting for the second time today in the number 8 spot. Sends that one to short, and right there is Brian Dempsey. But the Bourne Braves finally get on the board. It's 2-1 thanks to the RBI double from Jimmy Glowenke. We head to the top half of the 6th inning. You're watching Bourne Braves on YouTube.
Leading off of Harwich, the right fielder.
The Braves get a run back. It's 2-1 as we enter the top of the 6th inning. Still on the hill, beginning his 2nd inning of work. Joshua Colliver, we saw a lot of positive things for him back in the 5th inning. Getting the job done with a strikeout and 2 ground outs. His next batter he sees is Michael Ludwig, and Ludwig watches the first pitch for a ball. A little bit of confusion. We were talking about Joran in the break with the batting out of order situation. It seems like the first time around they were wrong in the order, and that second time around the order they were correct on the starting lineup given to the umpires at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, so to clarify, Brendan Rivoli batted correctly in that last inning. However, where the confusion came is in the 2nd inning, Kyle Hess came up in the 6th spot as he was listed to yesterday. He came up in that 6th spot, and Rivoli batted in the 8th spot. So they batted out of order there in the first time going through the lineup. And when the discussion took place, they were actually batting in the correct order. So had Harwich made a complaint or kind of pointed it out at the umpires, then there would have been an out. But since they waited that long, the Braves were able to correct the lineup and actually ended up scoring a run out of it.
The Braves get their first run on the season, a Jimmy Glowenke RBI double to right center field. The Braves are certainly glad to have him back in this lineup after not being here on opening night. Ground ball over to short, fielded by Williams. Throw to first is in time, and Ludwig is retired for the first out.
And Williams over there at shortstop, just making it look so smooth, so silky. You know, the infield not in the best of condition. It's kind of roughed up, especially there over short, so you never know when you're going to get a bad hop. but he made it look easy on that one.
From Wake Forest, number 35, Bobby Seymour.
Bobby Seymour, now for his third at-bat, has an RBI on a fielder's choice back in the third and double play in the first. So he's 0 for 2 with an RBI. Comes up with nobody on, 1 out in the top of the 6th inning. Harwich on top. It's 2-1. And here's the first pitch from Colliver, is a fastball that runs high and outside.
Yeah, Colliver with kind of a 3/4 arm slot coming on that release. Kind of not something that the guys have seen so much out of here on Harwich.
A tough swing and a miss on the high pitch from Colliver. Evens up the count to Bobby Seymour, a ball and a strike. The Braves finishing last place in a West Division that was extremely tough, an 18-25-1 record a season ago. After making the Cape Cod Baseball League championship game in 2017. Meanwhile, Harwich, with a losing record on their side, finished third in the East Division, making the playoffs. 2-1 pitches outside, 3 balls and 1 strike, eventually losing to Chatham in their playoffs. West Division certainly a lot more competitive last year than the East Division. We'll see how it shakes up this season with totally new rosters for every team as the 3-1 is chopped out. Just got a piece of it as Seymour, and the count runs full, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
And Culver is zoning in right now, kind of like in that zone that Seckler was in. Very down to business. Throw the ball, get the ball back in the glove, and he's ready to go.
Payoff from Culver. Seymour fouls it off. Braves, of course, winning the championship in 2009, making the championship game twice since then, in 2014 and 2017. One of the more successful organizations on the Cape. 3-2 yet again to Seymour. Swings at that one, lifts it to right center field. That ball will get down into the gap. Seymour will round the corner at first. A bobble by the center fielder, Noah Bridges. And Seymour is standing up with a double with 1 out.
It'd be interesting how they score it because that ball hit into the gap. Seymour could have maybe gotten to second anyway, but I think it's the bobble, and it's going to be counted as an error against Noah Bridges for bobbling the ball in center field, allowing Seymour to get to second base.
So that'll be a single for Seymour.
Yeah, and then an error, it's an E8 in your scorebook.
Seymour on second, an RBI opportunity for Harwich. Here in the top of the 6th, it's Nico Cavadas. Has 2 flyouts, 1 to third and 1 to left. So the lefty certainly late on these pitches from the Braves. And watches ball 1. Harwich with 2 runs in the top of the 3rd. Haven't scored since then. Braves getting 1 back on the RBI double from Glowenke in the bottom half of the 5th. There's a called strike on Cavadas. Evens up the count, 1 ball and 1 strike.
I think it's important here to not immediately give that run back because then you're pretty much back at square one, down by 2 runs, and it'd be a big demoralizing factor here to give up that run right after getting 1 for the first time.
1-1 is inside. Cavadas backs up. And the count now moves up, 2 balls and 1 strike. These 2 teams will face off again tomorrow. This time at Harwich in a game that was supposed to be played last night. Was rained out with about 30 minutes to go until the first pitch. The officials decided the area around third base was too dangerous to play on as Cavadas fouls it off. He evens up the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Harwich playing at White House Field. Everybody was ready to go. It rained earlier in the day yesterday. Seemed like everything was going to dry up, but the way that White House Field works, it has a little bit of a shadow over third base, and that area was not able to get any sun as it's a ground ball from Cavadas over to second, flip over to first from Glowenke, and there's the second out of the inning.
That's a big out there. The runner moves up to third base, but with 2 outs, doesn't really matter because it's going to take a base hit to score him. If you get the third out, there's nothing doing there. So this is big at-bat here for the Braves.
Chris Lanzilli coming up. He's 0 for 1 with a ground out to short and a walk in the 4th inning. Remember, last time Lanzilli was on the base paths, tried to come all the way home on a passed ball from Campbell. Lanzilli will foul off the first pitch. It was a pitch that went off of Campbell's toe, went over to the Braves dugout. Campbell finally got it as Lanzilli was coming home from second. And Campbell threw it to, at time, the pitcher, Nick Domkowski, and Domkowski tagged Lanzilli out. One is looked at for strike 2. And Colliver has him right where he wants him.
Now, normally you would go waste pitch here 0-2, but with that runner on third base, you can't get too crazy. Don't want that ball to skip by Campbell and let that run score with these. So you kind of have to pick and choose where you might use that waste pitch.
0-2 is set up high, and that's where the pitch goes for a ball.
Yeah, and that's again one of those types of you try and catch him napping, trying to get him go at that high fastball. It always looks a lot better coming up high than you actually might think. So here, 1-2, maybe off speed, another fastball here, down and away.
Delivery from Colliver. Off speed, right down the middle of the zone for strike 3. Got him looking, and there's the third out of the inning. Joshua Colliver gets out of it unharmed. One hit for Harwich, no runs. It's still a 2-1 game. Mariners on top. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning. You're watching Bourne Braves baseball on YouTube.
All-Star game will be played.
Entering the bottom half of the 6th inning alongside Jordan Palacio, Sam Wiederhaft with you. And Jordan, after 5 innings pitched, allowing 2 hits, just 1 earned run, and 5 strikeouts. That's it for Connor Seckler. The Harwich Mariners head to the bullpen.
Yes, and this is exactly what we saw out of their game against Falmouth opening night. You had your starter go 5 strong innings, especially here. Seckler went another 5 innings, only gave up 2 hits. Only 1 earned run, and this is where you go to the bullpen against Falmouth. The bullpen gave up 7 runs in only 2 innings. And, the Braves know this. The Bourne obviously doing their homework. They know that the bullpen has been shot, at least in that one game. So a little bit of a momentum boost here for the Braves going up against this Mariner bullpen.
It's Tommy Vail, the left-hander from Notre Dame, and he'll face the first 3 batters of this Braves lineup and throws a strike. Check that, Jake Campbell. It'll be 9-1-2, and first pitch to Jake Campbell is a strike. He's 0 for 1 with a fly out to right. Vail spent last summer with the Kalamazoo Growlers in the Northwoods League. And next pitch to Campbell is inside for a ball and a strike. In 2019, for Notre Dame, at 24 appearances, pitching 41 complete innings, 3.07 ERA, striking out 37 batters and walking 21, mostly coming on in relief, and throws ball number 2 to Jake Campbell.
And it's still, the Braves only down by 1 run. It's all about base running. for the Braves, getting base runners on board, being able to move them across the bases. And yeah, just think about tying the game up, getting back to 0-0. That'd be the goal here.
Balls and 2 strikes. A few scores from around the Cape. The Orleans Firebirds on top of Brewster. That's 5-3. That game is in the bottom of the 8th. Katuitt right now with a shutout against Hyannis, 7-0. That game in the top of the 5th inning. The YD Red Sox all over the Wareham Gateman in the bottom of the 4th so far. That's a 4-0 score. And Campbell sends that one right over to short. It's picked up by Dempsey. Dempsey, the throw to first, is in time, and a pretty hard hit ball by Jake Campbell skips right up into Dempsey's glove for out number 1.
Yeah, and Dempsey kind of handcuffed there between trying to catch it on the fly or letting it take a bounce. He picks it off the ground clean, off of the bounce, makes a long throw over there from shortstop. Actually, a longer throw over there from the deep shortstop than it is from third base. Made it on time, made it on target for out number 1.
Back to the top of the lineup now for the Braves. Noah Bridges steps in, the lefty. First pitch to him. He watches on the outside corner for strike 1. Falmouth and Chatham are tied 0-0. That game is in the top of the 3rd, and that rounds out the scores from around the Cape Cod Baseball League. 0-1. And that pitch is half swung by Bridges. Strike 2.
And look out for YD, huh? They're looking pretty solid, especially in the box scores recently.
Yeah, we'll see YD later this week. 0-2 is chopped out and missed. Or cut on and little foul ball back to the backstop. 0-2. Nobody on, 1 out. Bottom of the 6th inning. It's 2-1. Both these teams looking for their first win on the season. 5 hits for Harwich, 2 for the Bourne side. And a hard swing and a miss on the 0-2 pitch from Noah Bridges. He goes down for the 2nd time on strikes tonight.
And Vale coming in with some confidence. Not the tallest guy. If he's really lucky, maybe touching 6 foot, maybe 5'10", 5'11". Coming a little bit undersized, especially as pitching staffs go, working efficiently throughout the first couple batters.
Cody Morissette, 0 for 2 now comes in and watches ball 1 outside and in the dirt. Morissette, his last at-bat, got on with an error and struck out looking back in the 1st.
Also, caught stealing his last at-bat as well, and it's a miscommunication here. Love to see him get back on base, though.
1-0. Off speed is curved outside of the zone. 2 balls and no strikes. You're right, that caught stealing was a complete miscommunication. Morissette was out by a mile. Didn't really know if he should be running or not, and that really just speaks to this team not really knowing each other yet, as there's a strike 1, 2 balls and 1 strike. Not really knowing the correct signals. Haven't gotten a chance to gel with the whole team and really get to know this coaching staff.
I mean, and how could you? It's only been the 2nd game. And Morissette was here early, but, he's only spent about a week or maybe 2 weeks max with Harvich Bureau.
And that's what's tough about the Cape Cod Baseball League is that 2-1 is low for a 3-ball and 1 strike count now. These players coming from all different kinds of colleges. The best college players in the nation all coming together to form one league. And early in the season, it's tough to really get to know your team as the count now runs full on the called strike. Morissette thought it was ball 4. 3 balls and 2 strikes now.
Yeah, the crowd here at Doran not really a fan of that call. It looked to be maybe a little outside, but, close enough for the call. Now 3-2 here. Morissette's got a battle.
Here's the payoff from Vale. And got Morissette swinging. There's the first strikeout on the evening coming on in relief for Tommy Vale. Bourne Braves go 1, 2, 3. Bridges and Morissette both strike out. We head to the top half of the 2nd, the later innings. Harwich on top 2-1. Eduardo Malinowski will lead it off for the Mariners, and they have a 2-1 lead entering the top half of the second alongside Jordan Palacio. Sam Wiederhaft with you as on the hill remains Joshua Colliver for the Braves, and he seems to be doing pretty well so far after Nick Domkowski struggled through his 4 innings of work. First pitch is cut on by Malinowski, a sliding stop from Curtis, the flip over to Colliver, and they get him in time.
And Culliver did a nice job. They call that PFP. Pitching fielding practice, doing a nice job, not being a spectator, working his rear end toward the foul line there, getting there in time, doing some high knees after showing he's got the wheels to get over there. Nice job from both of them.
A race to first, and Colliver beats it out. Also a nice stop by A.J. Curtis using that famous first baseman's glove that we told you about earlier in the game. Makes a nice play with it for the first out. Now Christian Fedko watches ball 1. I already mentioned his brother Kyler Fedko, a member of the Braves organization this summer. 2 brothers from UConn. 1-0. Fedko lifts that one high, will stay in the infield. Calling off Curtis is Glowenke, and he'll put it away. Fedko is retired for the second out of the inning.
And talk about a fast 2 outs there. What is that? Only a couple pitches there?
State, number 34, Jackson Greer.
Yeah, just 3 pitches so far and 2 outs. Exactly what Colliver likes to see. There is an arm, it looks like, warming up over in the Braves bullpen, or maybe just somebody stretching out. Now up is Jackson Greer, the catcher, and Greer watches ball 1. Will be important for him to put together a little bit of a battle against Colliver, make him work a little bit here in this top of the 7th. No runs for the Mariners since the 3rd inning. Ball's outside, 2-0, where they scored 2 runs in that top half of the 3rd to put us where we are now, 2-1, Harwich on top. The RBI is coming from Bobby Seymour and Joey Weimer. Colliver gets a called strike, 2-1.
Yeah, and it's been for this Braves defense, it's been one bad inning in both games. It was a 2-run home run against Orleans, the 2 runs in the 3rd, but that's all they've given up.
Ball curving in foul territory on the first base side, and Colliver will even up the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Greer is 1 for 2, a single in the 3rd inning and a strikeout in the 5th. 2-2. And looked at for ball 3, and the count now runs full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to the catcher, Jackson Greer, already with 1 throw out. Got Cody Morissette stealing a few innings ago. The payoff from Colliver, and he shoots that one to deep left field. Rivoli moving back on it, and that ball is gone. Nothing Rivoli could do in left field, and Jackson Greer lengthens this lead with a solo shot to left. It's 3-1.
And that one was one of those close to being on the line, or which side of the foul pole is it on? No signal from the umpire down the third base line, so you assume it's a home run, and it is, and it's a big home run. And it looks like Harvey Shapiro is going to come out and talk about it. That was one of those ones where he didn't make a signal, so you'd assume fair. You'd at least expect a fair foul call.
Well, I'm going to side with Harvey Shapiro on that one. I was expecting a call as well, and I looked right toward the third base umpire, and there was no signal, and I just saw Greer trotting around the bases, so it was assumed home run. Shapiro's going to go over and talk to Morissette over at third. He probably had one of the better views of it. Shapiro looking a little bit confused. It is 3-1 as it stands right now, a home run to left from Greer. That ball toward the end of its flight was curving foul. And it looks like they're saying it snuck in to the right of the left field foul pole, and this ball game's at 3-1 with a solo shot from Jackson Greer. Now it's Brian Dempsey, and Dempsey sends a ball right field that's curving foul. Well, that's certainly a momentum killer for Joshua Colliver, who was moving pretty well through this lineup. No earned runs to that point, and gives up the game's first home run. And Jackson Greer's first home run in the Cape Cod League. Inside pitch from Colliver is a called strike, and Brian Dempsey is down in the count 0-2.
And, that one just never really sits well with you as a pitcher. A little bit of confusion there. Is it fair? Is it foul? Now you have to settle in and try and get it out.
0-2 is out of the zone for a ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. Dempsey is 0-for-2. Ground out to first in the third, and a ground out to third in the fifth. 1-2 from Colliver. And that ball just bouncing to the left of the line. Goes foul. A ball and 2 strikes.
And what hurts even more if you're Josh Culver is that home run comes with 2 outs as well. You're that close to getting out of the inning, that close to getting the offense back, hitting the ball, getting back on offense in the 7th inning here. And now right back to square zero here. Braves again back down by 2.
1-2 from Culliver. Dempsey sends it to right field. Moving back is A.J. Curtis, the first baseman, in foul territory and makes the play. Brian Dempsey is retired, but a solo shot from Jackson Greer right down the left field line makes this a 3-1 Mariner lead as we head to the bottom of the 7th. It's time to stretch. You're watching the Bourne Braves on YouTube.
Leading off for the Braves, the shorts.
Braves try and come back from this 3-1 deficit. You're watching Bourne Braves baseball on YouTube alongside Joran Palacio. Sam Wiederhaft with you for the home opener at Doran Park. Not going the way the Braves wanted it to. Here in the bottom of the 7th, and Alika Williams will lead it off. He's 0-for-2. Stepping up to face Tommy Vale for the first time tonight. The first pitch is high and outside to Williams. Although he's 0-for-2, we've seen some pretty good contact from him. A fly out to center and a fly out to left in his 2 at-bats. Here's the 1-0 from Vale is high. 2 balls and no strikes.
Well, yeah, now more than ever, especially now that you're down the extra run, it's all about getting base runners on base. You talk about only 2 hits so far, only 6 in 1 3/4 games here for the Braves.
A tough swing and a miss on the 2-0 pitch from Tommy Vale. Alika Williams still ahead in the count, 2 balls and 1 strike as the lights starting to shine at Doran Park. Also, the temperature starting to cool off a little bit. 2-1. Alika Williams will lift that one to the first base side in foul territory, and it bounces in between the first baseman, Bobby Seymour, and it looks like Christian Fedko, the second baseman. All were racing for it. Seymour overran it a little bit over in foul territory, and it fell right behind him. And the count will even up, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I'm not sure if Seymour maybe lost it, maybe in the lights perhaps, or if he lost it in the sun. I don't know. He overran that foul ball by about a good 4 or 5 feet there.
Here's the 2-2 to Williams, and fouls it off, stays alive. Williams, one of the returners for this Bourne Braves team. He played on the 18-25-1 team a season ago. He takes that 2-2 pitch to right center field. Moving to his right is Michael Ludwig, and he will retire Williams. So Williams now goes 0 for 3, and all flyouts have been to the outfield. A flyout to center in his first at-bat, a flyout to left, and now a flyout to right.
I tell you what, that's a shame because that was a good piece of hitting right there. He adjusted to the off-speed pitch very nicely. That's why you can never really expect an off-speed pitch because, especially at this level, if you expect off-speed and you get fastball, you don't have enough time to react. He reacted to that one, just, wrong spot in the wrong place.
First pitch to A.J. Curtis is cut on right back into the glove of Jackson Greer for a strike, 0-1. Right now, A.J. Curtis is the only player that's transferred from a junior college that's on the Braves. He went to Lone College for his first few seasons and now on the team at Cal State Fullerton. A ball and a strike now to him. 318 average in the regular season this past year for the Titans. A home run, 18 RBIs. 1-1 is high. 2 balls and 1 strike. Nobody on. Bottom of the 7th inning, Harwich with a 3-1 lead, a 2-1 count to A.J. Curtis. And the fastball is right down the middle for a strike. Evens up the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tommy Vale came into this game last inning after Connor Seckler pitched 5. 2-2, Curtis fouls off. Seckler only allowing 2 hits and 1 earned run on the RBI double from Jimmy Glowenke. That's all the Braves have been able to get tonight so far. Just 1 run. They've seen great pitching in both games against Orleans and against Harwich. 2-2, that ball is sent to right field. That ball will get down for a nice single for A.J. Curtis. And Curtis gets on for the first time this season.
Hitter from Wake Forest, number 23, Shane Muntz.
And especially with Shane Muntz coming up next, that's exactly who you want at the plate right now if you're the Bourne Braves. He's been the only consistent offensive piece that this team has had in the first 2 games. And, down 2 runs, like I said, this is the guy you want at the plate. He's got the power. He was about maybe 10 or so feet from hitting a home run at Orleans Monday night. You never know what he could do here.
Muntz is 1 for 2 with a strikeout in the 2nd and a single back in the 5th and came around to score and watches strike 1 down the middle. A.J. Curtis over at first. The first baseman not with a ton of speed. Braves have the tying run at the plate here in this bottom of the 2nd inning. And Muntz will foul it off over on the first base side.
And see, now it's dangerous here. You're down 0-2. This is where you might see a lot of double play balls. You get a lot of guys trying to just not strike out and hit themselves out of the inning.
Muntz, the leading batter on this Braves team so far with 3 hits in his first 2 games. 0-2 from Vale. And right down the middle, got Shane Muntz looking for the 2nd time tonight. There's the 2nd out of the inning.
Yeah, and you would have to think that Muntz was expecting something else other than the fastball because he got that right on the outer half of the plate, outside corner. Vale did a very nice job of painting that part of the plate. And now, the Braves only have 7 outs left. Got to make something happen here with 2 down.
Brendan Rivoli comes in. He's 0 for 2 with 2 flyouts to center. Remember, he was the player that batted out of order back in the 1st inning. And swings at strike 1 and misses. Well, Jordan, we know this league is a pitcher-dominated league, but Braves just haven't been able to get too many breaks on the offensive side so far.
Yeah, and, it could still be adjusting to those wood bats. A lot of these guys, like we said, they're flying in, just spent a whole season playing baseball. You get a break for about a week or so, depending on when their teams finish with their postseasons. And you come in and play with a bunch of new guys and a brand new climate for a lot of the guys, coming from all different parts of the country, a lot easier on paper than actually putting into the practice.
And Rivoli down 0-2 with 2 outs. A.J. Curtis at first looking to come home and inch this game closer in favor of the Braves. Here's the 0-2 from Vale, and that fastball is outside. Can't get to the zone. Count falls back to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Rivoli from Virginia. A 320 average over there. 5 homers, 42 RBIs in his past season. Check up over at Curtis.
Yeah, that was definitely not Vale's best move over there to first base. That was just one of those, I know you're still there. Kind of, hello, I'm here. I'm here too. Now, 1-2, let's see, he's going after Rivoli here.
Pitch to Rivoli, and just gets a piece of it. Umpire calls it a foul ball, and the count remains a ball and 2 strikes.
And, and whenever, a lot of players will say, and you'll see a lot of the people say, whenever you have a foul ball like that goes straight back into the screen, straight back in the netting, that's barely missed. You're barely missing that ball, only just by that little bit. So as a batter, that kind of gives you confidence. I only just missed that one, throw me that one again.
And he gets him the same pitch again, and it's a swing and a miss this time from Brendan Rivoli. He goes down for the second strikeout of the inning from Tommy Vale, and the Braves leave A.J. Curtis over at first. We head to the 8th inning, a 3-1 Harwich advantage. You're watching Braves baseball on YouTube. Top of the 8th inning on the home opener from Doran Park. Braves down by the score of 3-1 against the Harwich Mariners. Both these teams looking for their first win on the season. Joshua Culliver is out. He came on in relief of Nick Dumkowski, and Culliver threw 3 innings pitched, allowing 2 hits, 1 run, and striking out 2. And the Braves turn toward their bullpen yet again. They look toward Kieran Shaw.
Yeah, Kieran Shaw, guy from Harvard. A right-handed pitcher, about 6 foot 205. Coming from Harvard. Probably one of the most intelligent guys on the team. Had a stat line that reads 1-3 with a near 4 ERA in his 25 innings pitched, and opposing batters batted about 211 off him. So pretty good numbers there from Shaw.
He'll face Joey Weimer as the first batter in the lineup for Harwich. He fouls off the first pitch. Weimer is 1 for 3, a strikeout in the first, an RBI single in the 3rd inning, and a ground out to 3rd in the 5th. It's his first RBI of the season. As that 0-1 is looked at, misses the zone, evens up the count, a ball and a strike. Weimer didn't get to play in that first game against Falmouth. 1-1, watches ball 2.
And Weimer probably very happy that he doesn't have to face Culliver again. Swing out of his helmet the last time. But, you mentioned, just trying to make an impression. Weimer's one of those temporary guys where this could be his last game. You never know.
2-1 falls inside from Kieran Shaw. 3 balls and 1 strike. Hitters count for Weimer. He turns around to bunt and pulls it back. Watches strike 2.
Yeah, I don't think he had any intention on actually bunting there. Just kind of trying to freak Shaw out a little bit, trying to get him to distract him from, just thinking about, why is he turning to bunt? And then, you follow that up with throwing a ball here.
payoff from Weimer, and Shaw rockets that ball in foul territory. Wow, that came off the bat fast. Luckily, it goes foul. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
I just saw where that landed. That landed out by the parking lot over there. Legitimately, I think he might have just hit that ball near 500 feet.
Oh, some unbelievable power from Weimer. Here's the payoff yet again. Weimer barely fouls that ball off in a little check swing. Count remains 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, the problem is he hit the ball 500 feet, but about 200 feet foul. But wow, I mean, that came off the bat. That's the hardest hit ball I think we've seen in the first 2 games, Sam.
Didn't really have the wind to carry that ball back into the third. Here's the payoff. And Weimer watches strike 3. There's the first strikeout from Kieran Shaw in the first batter he faces.
And that's a big confidence boost, especially in your first Cape Cod League at-bats, your first appearance. Getting a strikeout, it's a little bit of a scare, especially with how hard Shaw hit the ball there, but 1 out nonetheless.
Michael Ludwig now comes in. Ludwig is 2 for 3 with 2 singles in the first and the third. He'll face Kieran Shaw for the first time, and the first pitch is a ball. And Jordan, we're seeing the exact same thing we saw in the Orleans game. A mistake early in the game, a mistake inning, 2 runs allowed, but other than that, the bullpen has secured this Harwich lineup, not allowing them to get in any groove at all.
No, absolutely not. And it's a big sigh of relief, too, because sooner or later, the offense is going to get going. The bats will start come around. It's all just about warming up. But however, if the bullpen is able to stay solid all season long, usually the best teams usually have the best bullpens.
Here's the 1-1 from Kieran Shaw. Ludwig turns around to bunt and bunts it foul. Moves up the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Shaw, as you mentioned, from Harvard, the second Ivy League player we've seen today. The other being Eduardo Malinowski from Penn. Here's the 1-2 to Ludwig. That ball can't curve into the zone in time. Count evens up, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And for Shaw, definitely don't want to follow that strikeout here with a walk. Just give him something. Hey, go let your defense make a play for you.
2-2. Looked at for ball 3.
Ooh, good pitch there. You have to assume just missed low, maybe downstairs, maybe crossed just below the knees. Looked good from up here. Now 3-2. Kind of like Weimer. He was down 3-2 as well. Got to make a pitch here.
We've seen some great plate discipline from all these players. Here's the 3-2, and it comes off the bat of Ludwig into left field for a single. Now, Ludwig is on for the 3rd time tonight, his 3rd single of the evening. And with 1 out, runner on, Harwich looking to extend this lead.
Yeah, that's a great piece of hitting there from Ludwig. Taking the pitch where it goes, taking it outside, a little opposite field base hit.
The first baseman from Wake Forest.
And, if you're Bourne, once again, it's all about getting the ground ball outs. If you get the ground ball outs, you're going to be successful no matter what league you're playing. And a ground ball here turns into 2.
Now it's Bobby Seymour, the number 3 batter. He's 0 for 3 with an RBI. 1 for 3 with an RBI. Got a single in his last at-bat, but it was an error over in center field, so he was able to get over to second on a very hard hit ball to right center field. Watches strike 1. Ludwig over at first. Had 33 walks and 6 stolen bases his last year for Ludwig. It's now 0-2 on Seymour. So some speed over at first. Oh, 2. Looked after ball 1.
Little waste pitch right there from Shaw. 1 and 2. Like I said, with the runner on, you can't really get too crazy with your waste pitches. Give it close enough to where, Camo isn't going to have to stress about getting there. But, now 1 and 2, maybe something down away. Ground ball pitch got to be coming here from Shaw.
1-2. Seymour watches it for ball 2. Good eye. Evens up the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. You see the middle infielders, Alika Williams and Jimmy Glowenke, playing a little closer to second base, getting ready for that double play ball if it does come off the bat of Seymour. He's a player that likes to lift the ball and goes for more of a power approach. As we've seen in his career at Wake Forest. 2-2. Off goes Ludwig, and Seymour fouls it off on the third base side.
Yeah, definitely hit and run was put on there. Seymour swinging at ball 3 right there, but that's what you got to do at a 3-2, or excuse me, in a hit and run situation. Got to give your guy a chance to get over to second base, and that's exactly what he did. Went way out of the zone to go foul that one off. Now here 2-2, we'll do it again.
It's a righty on lefty matchup. Shaw with a quick look over to first. 2-2 to Seymour. And just gets ahead of that pitch and fouls it off barely. Shaw was looking to take him off speed and put him away, but Seymour stays in the at-bat. It remains 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You know, this is kind of similar to the Molinowski at-bat in the 4th inning where we just had foul ball after foul ball after foul ball. Same idea here. 2-2 count. You got a battle here on the top of the 8th inning. Crucial inning for the Braves. Can't give up any more runs. Got to keep it close for the offense.
Quick look over to first from Shaw. Ludwig gets back in time.
And again, in one of those, just kind of reminding the runner that Shaw is there, that you can't get too far, else I will throw over.
Shaw looks back over to first yet again. Now throws toward home. 2-2. Off goes Ludwig. The pitch is a called ball. The throw is in time from Campbell, and they get Ludwig stealing.
Talk about a beauty of a throw. Jacob Campbell right on the money for Alika Williams over there at second base to make the tag, and a sigh of relief that Ludwig decided to go. What a throw, though, from Jacob Campbell.
A big-time play from Campbell for the second out of the inning. It's now 3-2 on Bobby Seymour. Here's the payoff from Shaw, and got him swinging high and tight. So the Braves are able to get out of it. A caught stealing. Ludwig is caught over at second from Jake Campbell, and Bobby Seymour on the very next pitch swings at a 3-2 pitch and strikes out. A little bit of momentum building for the Bourne Braves as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. 3-1, Harwich on top. You're watching Braves Baseball on YouTube. Bottom of the 8th inning. Braves looking to come back from a 3-1 deficit. Harwich on top. And after 2 innings, 1 hit allowed, and an astounding 4 strikeouts in the 6 batters he faced, Tommy Vail has pulled the plug, and coming in, Joe Boyle, the right-handed pitcher from Kentucky.
Yeah, rated the number one right-handed pitcher and the number two overall prospect from Kentucky when he came out of high school. I mean, that's saying a lot right there. Spent a lot of time in different leagues last summer. Spent a little time with Katuitt, a little time in the Northwoods League and in the Coastal Plains League. Here's the big thing with this guy: velocity, triple digits.
And first batter he'll face is Glowenke. He fouls it up, and making the play is Jackson Greer. Now, it looked like Greer had lost it a little bit in the lights, couldn't locate it. That ball somehow hung up in the air for enough time, locates it in the very last minute, dives and makes the play.
Well,
One pitch, one out.
I'll tell you what, that's probably going to be the play of the game right there. For about a solid 3 seconds, Greer had no idea where the ball was. It was with the help of the bench that he was able to look up and locate it. He was lucky that it was only going to be falling about 4 or 5 steps away from him, but he's able to lay out and make an outstanding catch.
Some great communication from Harwich, and they're able to put Glowenke away for the first out of the inning, and that's big as Glowenke in his last at-bat got the only RBI of the game with an RBI double for the Braves. The next pitch on Rivoli, check that, Hess, is going to be ball 2. 2-0 to Kyle Hess. Hess is 0 for 3, struck out in the second inning. Flew out to short in his last at-bat back in the 5th. 2-0 is swung at and missed on the high fastball. 2 balls and 1 strike. Joe Boyle attending Notre Dame, the rising sophomore. Or check that, rising junior, excuse me. 2-1 is cut out right back into the glove of Greer. Evens the count up, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jordan, you mentioned he did split his time up a little bit in the Cape Cod League with Katuitt. Went to the Northwoods League, was actually named the top prospect in the Northwoods League last summer. So a big arm for Notre Dame, and he shows it right there. He's able to get Kyle Hess looking for the second out of the inning.
And it's been a very quick 2 outs, a pop out and then a strikeout. And now the Braves here down to their last 4 outs. 2 runs. Normally you would like to see them try and at least split the difference, get 1 in this inning, 1 in the next, but not looking very likely here in the 8th.
Jake Campbell steps in, 0 for 2. Fouls off the first pitch. Flew out to right in the 3rd, grounded out to short in the 6th. Comes on, 2 outs. Nobody on. 3-1 Harwich lead. Both teams looking for their first win of the early Cape Cod Baseball League season. The 0-1 is off speed, and that was nasty right into the zone, 0-2.
And it's always great when a great velocity pitcher is able to mix in an equally as fast off-speed or movement pitch. And that one, you said it, it was nasty.
Campbell looking to put it together a little bit of a fight and fouls it off 0-2. And Boyle, like we said, a big arm. Projected throwing high 90s. One of the top pitchers for this Notre Dame team last year. 17 appearances, 24 innings pitched. He went 3-3 and gets Campbell swinging. 3 up, 3 down. Braves, nothing doing on the offensive side. We head to the final inning. 3-1. Harwich on top. You're watching Braves baseball on YouTube. Braves down by the score of 3-1 entering the top of the ninth, and manager Harvey Shapiro calls to the bullpen once more and looks towards Tyler Brocious to try and keep Harwich at bay, down 3-1.
And Tyler Brocious out of the University of Rhode Island, small Division II school. The biggest thing is going to be quite obvious here once you get a look at him. Big submarine pitcher. He actually has said, how low he gets with his pitching is that he's actually had knuckle scrapes from the mound, hitting the mound so much that his knuckles get all blistered up. And that's kind of impressive. It's always fun to see a pitcher like that. Something different for sure.
Yeah, you'll see it right here against Nico Cavadas. Yeah, first pitch is outside. Ball one, and you're right. He gets that hand extremely close to the hill and just scrapes those knuckles. I can never imagine how those pitchers do it. It's just so close to the ground.
No, and it's also effective, too. Anything you can do differently is always an advantage that you're going to have over a batter.
He'll throw his first strike, 1-1. Brocious at Rhode Island this past year, 6-2 record, 6 saves, pitched 39 and 2/3 innings with a 2.27 ERA. Comes in for his first Cape Cod Baseball League appearance. 1-1 on Cavadas, and can't get the outside call. That'll move up 2 balls and 1 strike. Nico Cavadas is 0 for 3. A fly out to third, a fly out to left, and a grounder over to second in his all 3 at-bats. 2-1 from Brocious. And he gets the call on that fastball right down the middle, evens up the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And, anything you can do differently as a pitcher is always going to be a good thing. You look at a guy like Clayton Kershaw, despite, even though his stuff is absolutely nasty, don't get me wrong, it's that windup, that funky big up with the leg and the arms and then straight out like that. It's different to see there up the plate.
2-2 is down the middle on the off speed for strike 3. And Brocious starts out well, getting Cavadas down on strikes for the first out of the inning.
Now batting the left fielder from Wake
Forest. In a game where you only have, less than half of a second to react, if you spend part of that time reacting to, whoa, this pitch is coming out of a weird arm angle, you're already being, especially on a fastball that's coming in there, low to mid 90s.
Now Chris Lanzilli steps in, and Jordan, how different do you think it is now with the submarine pitcher throwing it the opposite way of the barrel?
Oh, I tell you, it's difficult as a batter. Like I said, you only have less than half of a second. We're talking about 0.3 of a second from the time the ball leaves the hand to where it's in the catcher's mitt, and the ball kind of moves differently. It moves if you're a right-handed submarine pitcher, it's going to move away from a right-handed batter just naturally.
Lanzilli has an 0-1 count after fouling off the first pitch. Here's the 0-1. And that ball sneaks inside for a ball. It's a 1 ball, 1 strike count. Brocious from Denville, New Jersey. Not too far away from home. You see a lot of East Coast players showing up in this league, especially for the first couple weeks as we wait on the College World Series and those players to come back and play for their respective teams. 1-1 to Lanzilli. That ball outside.
Attention fans, now pitching for Bourne from University of Rhode Island, number 8, Tyler Brocious.
Temperature starting to cool off. Wind has certainly died down a little bit, at least for right now. We could see that spring up. You never know with climate, especially near the ocean. 2-1 is a short little chopper over to Morissette at third. A long throw to first is right on the bullseye to A.J. Curtis. There's out number 2.
I'll tell you what, Cody Morissette made that play look 100 times easier than it actually was right there. Field that on a backhand right behind third base. First, you have to hope that the ball doesn't hit the base, and if it does, you have to adjust to where it goes. But a clean backhand, and did you see how fast he got that out of the glove? That was just a great snap throw on target and very fast velo coming over there from Morissette over at third base.
Played it with ease and got him out. Made it look easy. Now it's Eduardo Malinowski facing Brocious for the first time and fouls it off. Malinowski's 0 for 3, a strikeout back in the 4th, and a couple of ground outs as well. Comes up, nobody on, 2 outs in the top of the 9th. His team up 3-1 over the Braves, looking for a little more insurance before the Braves have their 1, 2, 3 batters due up in the bottom of the 9th. And Brocious now ahead in the count on Malinowski 0-2.
And it looks like there is an arm warming up over there for Harwich, so it does not look like it is going to be Boyle to pitch, even though he was extremely effective in that 8th inning.
0-2 on Malinowski. He lifts that one on the inside pitch. That ball will stay fair. Moving over is Alika Williams. Alika Williams called off at the last minute by Rivoli, and they put it away. 3 up, 3 down. No runs, no hits for the Harwich Mariners of Tyler Brocious, the submarine pitcher. We head to the bottom of the 9th inning. Bourne down by the score of 3-1. Their final 3 outs on the way. You're watching Bourne Baseball on YouTube. Top of the lineup, 1, 2, 3, due up for the Bourne Braves in the bottom of the 9th inning. Their last chance to come back from this 3-1 deficit that Harwich has built up throughout the game. It was 2 runs in the top of the 3rd and 1 run back in the top of the 7th on the solo home run. 1 run for Bourne in the bottom of the 5th on the RBI double from Jimmy Glowenke, but that's been all she wrote from the offense so far, as Noah Bridges looks to lead off the 9th inning with a base runner to try and get on base, and he watches ball 1 from Joe Boyle, who's back on to begin his 2nd inning of work in tonight's ball game.
Yeah, and base runners has to be the only concern here. You can't be taking or swinging at first pitches unless it's right where you want it. And it's all about just making something happen. That's what baseball is all about. Just make the other team make a play.
Bridges, a 1-1 count on him right now. 2 strikeouts in this game. Certainly doesn't look promising. There's a 2-1 count as that ball is low. Bridges' parents went to North Carolina, Wilmington. His grandparents went to North Carolina, Wilmington. He goes to North Carolina, Wilmington. Now in the Cape League, trying to show off his skills. 2-1 is outside and now works this to a great hitter's count. 3 balls and 1 strike. Certainly has the green light here.
You would think 3-1, it's tough with a guy who has a lot of high velocity. Sometimes that ball almost begins to rise because they throw it so hard.
3-1, and Bridges fouls it off toward the backstop in foul territory. And now the count will run full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. You think Boyle goes fastball here?
I would. I mean, why not? You make them beat your best pitch, and you'd imagine that the fastball is probably his best pitch.
Payoff on Bridges. Got him swinging. He went fastball. That's his best pitch. And got him for the first out, the 3rd time that Bridges has been retired via the strikeout. And there's 1 out.
Cody Morissette.
Just nothing you can do when it's coming in that fast.
Nothing you can do, especially when it's coming fast and high, too. When it's a little bit higher, it feels a little bit faster. It's harder to catch up with the higher fastball as opposed to one down at the knees. Now it falls on Cody Morissette here, looking for his first time in a little bit here, get on base.
First pitch is a strike from Boyle. Morissette hasn't got on since the 4th inning where he reached on an error, then was caught stealing. He struck out twice in tonight's ball game, once looking in the 1st and once swinging in the 6th. 1 is down the middle, strike 2.
And that's a nice little slider there. Just at the very end, snaps right back into the zone. It looks right down the middle, but I'll tell you, Morissette did not think it was going to be in the zone until it was too late.
0-2 is inside, looking to try and get Morissette to swing at a bad pitch. Doesn't happen. The count now moves to 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Especially with the bases empty and you're up by 2 runs at 1 and 2, like I said, maybe you can mess around a little bit with that slider or go after him with that fastball.
Fouls it off, stays in the at-bat. And one thing Morissette has to do is battle Boyle a little bit. Make him work out there on the mound. He really hasn't had to do anything. 1-2. And that ball's high. Count evens up, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, you talk about not having to do much. You had to pop out to the catcher in foul territory and then strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. So a ball has not even been put into fair territory in play against Boyle yet.
3 balls and 2 strikes now as Morissette battles this one a little bit. Nobody on, 1 out, bottom of the 9th inning, 3-1 lead for Harwich. Here comes the payoff from Boyle. Got him swinging another tough fastball, this time on the outer corner. And Morissette this time goes down for the 3rd time on the strikeout.
From Arizona State, number 25, Aliko Williams.
And the Braves down to their last out. It's going to be Aliko Williams here over 3 flyouts. Just trying to get his summer started here with the Bravos. Maybe a base hit here would be nice. A lot of things can happen with a guy who throws a lot of velocity.
First pitch is low and inside. Williams is 0 for 3 with all 3 of his at-bats going to the outfield on flyouts. First one was a fly out to center. Second one was a fly out to left. Third was a fly out to right. So he's spraying the outfield, just not able to get a ball to fall into the grass. Swings at a tough fastball, evens up the count, a ball and a strike.
Sometimes the guys who throw harder, it doesn't take as much power to actually get the ball up and out of the park.
Outside on another fastball. 2-1. Aliko Williams just trying to get on with his team down by 2. 7 hits for Harwich, just 3 for the Braves. 2-1. He took him off speed and evens up the count. The Braves down to their final strike.
And then I think it's just, in baseball, you're only down 2 runs. You only need a bloop and a blast. This game could be tied up in just as little as 2 swings of the bat.
Look for another fastball here, 2-2, and Williams stays alive on the inside pitch and fouls it off. So Braves not done quite yet. Williams from Arizona State will step back into the box with a 2-ball, 2-strike count with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. Pitch from Boyle. Got him swinging. He strikes out to the side to end the ball game. The Harwich Mariners win this one 3-1.
That's the ball game. Braves will be at Harwich tomorrow.
And you talk about domination. Joe Boyle in 6 batters strikes out 5 of them. 5 strikeouts in a row. That is quite unbelievable. And right now, Harvey Shapiro having a little conversation with the home plate umpire. You would imagine most likely probably still about that home run call that ever since then kind of really changed the game.
Oh, and Joran, just as we saw on Monday night, another pitcher-dominated game and another game where Bourne really just not able to get anything going offensively.
Well, we're talking about 1 run on 3 hits and an error. You talk about, total of about 4 or 5 base runners throughout the entirety of the game. And that, you can't really ask your pitching staff to do much more for you. They only given up 3 runs. That's a great outing, especially from Dumkowski. You only had 1 bad inning, and you give up the home run like Culliver did. 3 runs, you'll take that as a pitching staff, no matter what. You're talking about a really good outing. Its problem is Bourne at some point will get the bats going. We've said it before. It's just not yet. They're just still adjusting, and eventually they will get the bats going. But right now, it kind of hurts to watch.
Connor Seckler takes the win for the Harwich Mariners, going 5 innings, allowing 2 hits, just 1 run, and striking out 5. Getting the save is Joe Boyle in that clutch bottom, striking out the side, and Harwich will move to 1-1. They take the first game of this home-and-home series as Bourne falls to 0-2. Tomorrow will be at Harwich. First pitch coming at 6:30. That's a makeup game from yesterday's rainout. So we'll see you then live at 6:30. For Joran Palacio, I'm Sam Wiederhaft saying have a great night, everybody. Harwich wins this one 3-1.